Live from the lavatory. Welcome to the Close Traffic Podcast, an aviation and flight simulation show. Welcome aboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Close Traffic Podcast, an aviation and flight simulation show. I'm Johnny, and in the studio with me is our co-host and a resident virtual F-100 Super Sabre pilot, Charlie. Charlie, say hello to the people, man.
Yeah. Hey, at least I didn't shoot you down this time. Like, what was it, the F4?
Oh yeah. I'm still seeking therapy over that, by the way.
Yeah. Johnny's like, traumatic. Spike, boom, it was over.
It was, yeah, done, skis, man, barbecue chicken. Nevertheless, guys, again, welcome. Heck of a show. Lots to talk about today, and really want to touch home on a product that's probably going to revolutionize the industry. 100%. Before I do that, I want to introduce our very special guest, Real World A320 Captain, developer who played a huge role in the Bill's A310 as well as the EFB on the Phoenix A320. Ladies and gentlemen, Katiepilot. Katie, say hello to people.
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for having me on. It's really sweet that you asked me to come out, and also, as I was saying earlier, at such short notice as well. Thank you so much.
No, we definitely appreciate your flexibility. All I know was I got a text from Charlie, quick, get it set up, and I'm like, who am I setting up? We're absolutely thrilled to have you for sure. Again, I know it's late, but I can't help to. I know we talked a little bit about it early, but did you get settled in from your trip from Expo? I know Expo was a pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of feeling the effects of Expo. Sure. I'm still going to bed at silly o'clock and waking up in the afternoon, but I still haven't gone back to work yet, so that's okay. It's okay until Friday, and that's when I have to actually get myself back onto UK time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
no worries.
That's got to be the worst jet lag after all the work you guys did.
But then it's great for development because there are no distractions in the middle of the night. So I'm just there coding away, and no one's around, which is great.
Exactly. No, I've tried it in the past. My previous lines of employment, I've worked some pretty odd hours, and it's just I don't know. Maybe it's a Johnny thing, guys. It just I'm totally cool with that. But it's like my brain, no matter where I'm at in the world, Dubai, wherever, like my brain just shuts off in US time at night, and it's just I don't know. I mean, there's no amount of coffee, no amount of caffeine in the world that could bring it back. But
when it says it's time to go to bed, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah. That could be old age too, Charlie. No,
yeah, we are getting older, man.
Not at all. Sure. 21, the pair of you.
I wish.
No worries. But the usual flow for our guests, I think, since we do handle, we discuss real world aviation as well as flight simulation topics. I think the first question, I wanted to touch on with you, Katie, was what was your first foray into aviation? What brought you into the industry?
Yeah, I think so. I've kind of searched my soul a bit about this because I've kind of wondered what exactly kicked it off, because none of my family fly. Like my granddad did some national service and stuff in the Air Force, but apart from that, no one in my family's flown. No, there's kind of no tie into aviation. The only thing I can think of, and this is the weirdest story to have happened, but when I was 9, I must have been 9. It was just after 2001, so it was in October 2001. Weren't allowed into the flight deck, obviously, and we flew on holiday. And on that holiday, I got stung by a jellyfish. Now that is probably, you're going, how on earth does this link into you going into flying? But I got stung by a jellyfish, right? And that ruined the entire holiday because of the fact. Sorry, vacation for your American viewers. That meant that, you know, my whole arm was in a cast, or like, you know, bandages and things like that. And basically, I couldn't enjoy the holiday. I couldn't do any of the activities. Couldn't go in the pool. Couldn't do anything. And so my entire holiday was a little bit rubbish, really. So then, and all I was excited for was the plane ride home, because I'd never been on a plane before, apart from the way over, and I remember loving it. And then, so from that moment, I got home and I was like, that was the coolest thing. When can I go on a plane again? And then my parents, you could always just like, you know, you could work on a plane when you're older. Like, ooh, that's a good idea. So, I put it down to that jellyfish, which is, so I don't know where it is now, but yeah, I put it down to that jellyfish is what caused my foray into aviation.
Shout out to the jellyfish.
Shout out.
No worries. No, it's interesting you bring that up, Katie, because, you know, it was most individuals I asked that, even some individuals I worked with, it was either like, you know, they come from a long lineage of aviators, and you know, yeah, my dad was like, you know, the Wright brothers' cousin, or, you know, I'm you know, just semantics, whatever. But for me, it was like, you know, no one really thought about an airplane. You know, I didn't fly. My first flight was going to basic training, and you know, our vacation is like, we didn't even vacation to go, you know, flying anywhere. So no, it was just, that's interesting that that you bring that up. So it's you know, it's kind of a funny interesting thing here. So you have aviation, but you also have this aspect of you that seems, you know, that loves development. Did that kind of come hand in hand, or how did that work?
Yeah. So I think the development side. So when you're flying an airliner, it's not very creative, right? Because, well, if you're getting creative when you're flying an airliner, something has probably gone wrong. So on a normal day of work, it's a very, you know, I know what the first officer's doing. The first officer knows what I'm doing. The crew know what we're doing. Like, and it just kind of, no day is the same, but it can be very like predictable.
Sure.
But it does mean there's no creativity at all. So it's very structured. And one thing I love about development is just the creativity side of it, and just being able to go, you know what, I want to make this, so I'm going to make it. And I think, like, I did look into doing some development with like creating stuff for real world aviation, but that also comes with its own rigidity because of the fact that because of the regulation and things like that, which obviously, you know, everything you do needs to be regulated. It needs to be like approved. Whereas with flight sim, as long as you are, you know, respecting people's intellectual property, and you are, you know, respecting EULAs and things like that, you can basically make whatever you want, as long as it, like I said, as long as it is within the rules, which is, you know, the rule set is pretty big. But as long as you're respecting people's IP and things like that, then you can kind of just go ahead and create what you want. And I think with a background in aviation, that lends itself to flight sim in particular, because of the fact that, you know, we kind of know what a day in the life of a pilot looks like, and therefore you can kind of translate that to the sim.
Absolutely. No, that's a very interesting perspective for sure, because you don't see that often. I worked in the airline industry many a moon ago, and most of my counterparts and my teammates, their hobbies were like hunting, fishing, There's one guy who liked curling. I just now forgot what the heck that was.
Really?
Yeah, like I never knew that was a thing, man. I know everybody's in the chat like, what?
That's the game, right? With the like the little ball thing.
Yeah, I call them the brooms
right.
and the stones.
When they're like polishing the floor. Yeah.
Yes.
For some random reason, Scotland are really good at in the Olympics. We don't know why, but they're fantastic.
Right. And
also,
so
you talk about how do you get into development and how do you get into aviation, but like how do you get into curling?
Exactly.
Like,
my question.
Who grows up and goes, that's my thing?
Yep. I'm totally going to do that. Out of all the distractions and things, I don't know. To this day, and that was like almost 20 years ago. To this day, like I still hadn't figured it out.
Do you reckon they're like polishing the floor in their in their house, and they're like, "Ooh, I'm quite good at this."
Right? You're like waxing the floor or something, and it's like, oh wow. I don't get it.
Let's throw a big stone in the mix.
Well, Charlie, you do bowl. Like, did you know about the curling thing?
Oh yeah. Okay, I saw it on TV one time. I'm like, what the is this?
Okay.
Why are these people like buffing ice? And then I mean, low key kind of got into it, bro. I was like,
like 2 hours later.
You're trying to figure out what is going on. Okay, they hit this stone. Now that it's just
Oh my goodness, guys.
I would fall on my face, break the mop, whatever.
Oh, dude, it's terrible. Like, hence rollerblades and skates, man. I'm good. Totally good for a pass. Oh my goodness. So, Katie, so you mentioned, especially with your real world background, understanding, workflows and things of that nature. At what point, between your real world job and your flight simulation hobby, did you sit down and say, we really need a, holistic solution to better a simmer's workflow?
Yeah, so 99% of my development projects, and I don't know if you've seen the audio normalizer that I came out with. It's on flightsim.to.
Mm-hmm.
But 99% of my projects they're born out of frustration on my own part. So like I don't know if you know the story behind the normalizer, but I'd done a stream, and I spent the entire stream. I think we had air traffic control the whole way on VATSIM. And when you're streaming, I'm sure you guys, are aware that when you're actually on a podcast or you're streaming, like you kind of need no distractions because it can be quite consuming.
Absolutely.
And when I was doing the stream, and air traffic control was just coming in my ears at various different levels.
Oh, it's so aggravating.
And so like you've got one pilot who comes in super quiet, and then so you then have to turn it up, and then the air traffic controller replies and they're really loud, and then you just have your ears, and all my viewers were going, oh my god, it's like so loud, or then it's really quiet. And so literally came off the stream and I was like, right, that's it. So I just stayed up and made this program, which it's not perfect, but it does the job. And I was like, you know what, given I've made it for myself, I might as well just put it on flightsim.to. It seems like loads of people got some benefit out of it. And that's very much the same with efbX, which is the same sort of thing where I was simming and I was just like, what is that? I mean, it's fantastic. We have so many add-on products, especially since Microsoft came out with 2020 and 2024. The amount of add-ons has just exploded, and I was just finding, just to get a flight going, I had to have so many open and so many. I thought, where is that again? And is that on this window? And then I'd be like, because I have two computers as well that run in parallel. I was like, is that on this computer or is that on that computer? And I was like, it kind of took the fun out of it for me. Because I was like, I kind of almost felt like I needed to, or you need to be a developer to make stuff work. And it's silly stuff as well. So like, when there are some like EFBs within aircraft that you can pull out of the sim and you can bring it onto your iPad or your phone and things like that. But you still need to go hunting for an IP address, right? And you still need to do like unblocking ports and making sure things. So I was like, even that, I was like, that's a little bit frustrating. I just want plug and play. I just want to be able to load up, scan a QR code and just go and just have it work. So, and obviously every developer does everything a little bit different. And I was like, we're never going to get to this place unless we all kind of try and work together. So essentially efbX, as much as it is its own EFB, it's very much a platform for developers to kind of come to a common place and then have one common platform where everyone can just kind of basically collaborate. And I think and actually some of the conversations I've had with some developers have been really positive, and people are on side to do that. So I think it's very much kind of initially started out of frustration of just having everything everywhere, and now it's kind of grown into something that actually is, I think, it is really exciting. I'm certainly excited about anyone else, but I am.
Oh, absolutely. The buzz in the community is on fire with this software.
Oh, for sure. Because I think we all have the same sentiment, right? It's like,
yeah, I can't wait,
I've been, like being in the industry since like FS98. Even back then, there were like 90 different applications you had to run.
Yes.
And,
just clogging your PC up.
Oh yeah, and that's fine when you're 16 and have that kind of time. But for me, my time in the sim is finite. So trying to hey, I'm gonna do a little quick hour trip, and you're like, okay, let me get VPilot or XPilot up, let me do this, let me do that, and finally by the time I think I did a meme on that on Instagram one day, Charlie. I was born and inebriated, and I think I did a meme on that. But there's like 90 different things open, and and heaven forbid something crashes. How frustrating is that?
When you hear that doo-doo-doo,
exactly.
Something somewhere.
Yep,
especially
exactly.
Like now, well, with all the hardware we have as well, like something unplugs, so you're like,
oh yeah,
oh, and that will freeze. Oh my gosh,
the whole system will freeze, and a lot of times for me it's just straight CTD, so it's like that's 2.5 hours wasted.
For sure.
Or heaven forbid, which by the way, Mike is out, but he does sends his regards. But our counterpart Mike, he does a lot of long hauls, right? So they're we've been in the chat where it'd be like a 10+ hour long haul, 5 hours in, it's like a
Blossom
CTD
crash.
Yes.
Well, you'd be pleased to know that efbX doesn't run on WASM, so we're good there.
Oh my gosh, game changer. But yeah, I think we can all relate in that aspect there. So part of efbX, from what I've been reading, is it's this ecosystem, right? So you have partnerships that you work with, which the list is pretty extensive already.
Absolutely.
What's the reception been like for third-party developers? Have they been like, yeah, let's go, or are they kind of looking at you with the side eye, like, how's this going to work? Or
it's funny because when the project first started, I think there was quite a bit of skepticism. Well, what is this? I don't really understand. And well, we're too busy doing our own development, and that's totally understandable. If someone out of nowhere comes up to you and says like, "Hey, I'm trying to make this thing," can you get involved? And like, well, actually, we're so busy. And I did understand that, albeit quite frustrating, obviously, as a developer trying to make something happen. But I think once kind of it's now gained a bit of traction and people are understanding it too. And I think that's the biggest thing, because when we first announced it, everyone was like, well, I've already got an EFB and every aircraft comes with an EFB, so like, why do I need another one? And it's like, yeah, and I get that. I don't want to make people having something else extra on their because that's not what this is about. It's actually about removing kind of all of that clutter, and that's why we're interfacing with so many aircraft. And as it's grown and gained some traction, the community, the development community, have been a lot quicker to get on side. And certainly since Expo, I have to say Expo is probably the best. It's fantastic from a attendee perspective, but from an exhibitor perspective, for the seeing someone, having a drink with someone from another development studio and just saying, hey, like, we're doing this, do you think you might be interested? And a lot of people, to be fair, these days now, they're just like, yeah, actually, I've been meaning to reach out to you, and that's fantastic, and
too cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And in fact, one of the developers, I felt really bad actually. So one of the developers sent me an email. It ended up in my spam. They will remain unnamed, but they ended up in my spam. And I was just going through my spam because I, especially when you have an open inbox for like, you know, the wider community, you do need to have a kind of keep an eye on it. And I saw this one. I was like, oh, who's that? Clicked on it, and it was a developer who wanted to integrate with our flight bag, which thankfully. I replied, and it is now integrated and it's all working perfectly. But
wow,
I was like, oh my God, imagine if I just hadn't checked my spam that day. That partnership could have either never happened, or they might have just like disliked the product from that moment because, oh, well, I never got a reply. So I suppose my message to any developers out there is, if I don't reply, please send another one, because I do check my spams, but it's just not as often as I should.
So you heard it here first, folks. Check your spam folder.
Yeah,
check
exactly. Some amazing opportunities might end up in your spam.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly. Yep. That. And yeah, I've noticed that for me. Like, I've had a lot of issues with my spam, like something like stupidly important. It's like, oh my gosh, how did that get in there? I don't know. The algorithms just aren't algorithming for me or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but going back to your real world experience, Katie, have you seen like a parallel between the electronic flight bags that you use on the line and a lot of the FBs that you see in the sim? Do you see a kind of a parallel there in terms of like workflow, some similarities there?
I do, to a degree. I think obviously when a developer's making the FB for flight sim, they have to flight simify it, because just purely because of the fact that, I mean, the environment you're in, it's not a real aircraft, as sad as that is to say. But it means that, things like managing doors and payloads and things like that, clearly in real life just doesn't happen. I don't have a chart with a, like a weight and balance thing, and your where your where your CGs are and all that sort of stuff, like, because that just doesn't, the EFBs are not tied to the aircrafts. Like we don't have a weight and balance readout from the aircraft and things like that. We just get a paper load sheet that we basically get told this is correctly loaded.
Right.
And that's essentially what we're trying to do with the efbX, is kind of keep it simified because of the fact that it needs to be, but also bring us back to that kind of like, what's a real life workflow like, and actually trying to turn it into what a real life pilot's EFB is. And for me, like, literally, and this is no coincidence, it's literally here in front of me. I always have it with me. Like, it's just always with me, because there might be some overtime alerts that come through, or I might get an email, or like there might be some new notice that comes out that I have to read. And obviously I don't want to be doing that the night before I go back to work, after just having time off work and stuff like that.
For sure.
So it's kind of like, it is a pilot's Bible. Like, you just have it with you pretty much all the time. And if ever, I mean, the amount of times, you'll be in a hotel down route and you'll be looking around, kind of people having food, having their breakfast or whatever. And you'll see people just sat there on their iPads, and you're like, they're pilots. You can tell they're pilots, because they're managing their roster, or they're doing, and that is basically how it is in real life. Like, these things are literally with us all the time. And so that's what I've tried to bring to efbX, where essentially it can run without the sim being there. It just runs, but then it runs over your network. So you can have it on your phone, have it on your iPad, or whatever device that you have, Android tablet. You can just have it with you, and then you can do all the kind of the planning, the briefing, exactly the same as we do at work. I don't see an aircraft until I've looked at the flight, briefed it, ordered the fuel, been through my notices. Like, I've basically, before I even see an aircraft, I've done an hour and a half's worth of work at work. So and And that's where I've touched an aircraft. Obviously, I can't imagine simmers will want to be spending an hour and a half before they go flying. But what you can do, and this is the idea of it, is the fact that you can use it before you get to your sim. You can launch a sim from your tablet or whatever. So then by the time you do actually get to your sim, it's there waiting for you. You've done kind of your prep, and then you get to the aircraft. And that's kind of that whole workflow that I'm trying to bring to simmers. The other thing is the fact that our EFBs at work are very unique to us. So while we do have company apps that we can install, we also have it in our own way. Like we have, you have the apps that you want installed. Like I obviously have, I use a down reader when I'm in the hotel room. So I have some entertainment apps on there. Or I'll have, I'll obviously have the work apps and things like that. But there's some other things that I use. So I've got the news on there. And that's kind of where I was like, oh, hold on. We can integrate with FS, like Flight Sim News, so FS Elite and Threshold and all that sort of stuff. So we have it. So if if they post a news story and if you have, say the FS Elite application installed, if they post a news story, you get a pop-up. In fact, I've got it right here. 57 minutes ago, Caronado announces Dornier 228 for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, and that was coming from Threshold.
Oh, wow.
but that's the thing, it's literally right there. And I'm like, oh, so as I'm developing, I'm keeping up to date with the news, and that's obviously for simmers, or when they're flying, they'll get a notification to say some news has happened, and that's kind of again, so it's kind of taking it away from just this is an EFB that controls your aircraft and does calculations and basically is a glorified calculator, which is what a lot of the EFBs in Flight Sim are. And this is taking it, kind of zooming out even further and say, actually, this is something that is going to be your, this is going to be your Flight Sim Bible, and you're going to use it for everything. And I think that the hardest the hardest thing I've been trying to kind of get across is that mindset change in the sim community, because I think people just go, well, an EFB is basically, like I said, a glorified calculator, and this is so much more than that. And I think that's what I'm trying to get across, all with varying degrees of success.
Absolutely. No, that's very well said, and totally get that. Like I said, I'm super excited. Actually, there was a question from Practically Geek. It was a really good question. Will efbX replace the other tablets? Katie did Phoenix One, so will her new one replace that if you buy it, etc.?
Yeah. So the Phoenix, like obviously the EFBs within your aircraft will remain. Like that's fine.
It's attached to it, basically.
But what it means is that whatever aircraft you jump into, you can use the same EFB. You just have efbX, or you have on your desktop, iPad, whatever. But we also do have so any EFB that can be exposed over the network as well, we have that installed too. So for example, if you did want to use, if there was some function you needed to use in the Phoenix, for example, you could just open the Phoenix app. It's there. You don't have to mess around with ports and IPs and stuff. It's just there, and you can just use it that way. So, like, we're not necessarily saying that it needs to be replaced. Although I did a flight yesterday and I didn't touch an EFB, an in-game EFB. I just used my own, and that was like it's quite fun actually,
cool.
because when you kind of do a flight like that, and then you go back to the old way of doing it, and some of my alpha testers will be testament to that, and they're like, because some of them are streamers, so obviously when they stream, they're like, well, I can't use it, and they come off the stream and they go, I can't do this. I can't do it without it anymore. Like, it's just a complete different mindset. And when I hear them say that, I'm like, that's amazing. I'm so happy. Like, you guys are you're enjoying it. And one of my favorite things as well is like when I bring on board a new tester and I jump on a call with them and I get them set up, and I'm like, right, just play. And to hear, and the same at Expo actually, to hear people be like, hearing the excitement, like when I show them something and you'd hear them go, whoa. I was like, how can you get that excited about an EFB? But if that's their reaction, then that makes me super excited for like when we release.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, well, it's game changing, right? I mean, I again, going back to, what we were discussing before as relates to, having, all these multiple applications going on and taking it and condensing it to like an iPad or a mobile phone, or let's say you got that long haul and, we got to go run to the store or something like that. Or, for me, I get like a honeydew and have to go to the local hardware store because, kids broke something, whatever. It's super advantageous to be able to look at, the my EFB and it's like, oh, okay, this is where I'm at or what have you. Just having that flexibility and portability for me, I think is going to be a absolutely huge. Looks like there's another question as well, which I believe it does have JSX integration, but I'll let you answer that, Katie. Has the efbX, the JSX integration?
It does indeed, yeah. So and this is again interlinked with us. So we have two things in there. So we have one is a GSX app, which is kind of essentially the controls that you know and love if you want to just directly control GSX through the GSX remote app. So it is quite cool pushing your aircraft back or calling a fueler and stuff like from your phone, or it kind of feels a bit more realistic actually, almost like you're calling a dispatcher to say, hey, like can we get some fuel? Can we get, that almost feels like
can we get a sandwich and some chips?
Yeah, exactly. Have you had to have some
Biscoff cookies, Charlie.
You say that, just slight tangent. There is a destination on our network where we literally like send an email before we depart London and we say, hey, can you bring some gyros, the Greek like gyros,
right? The little sandwiches,
And there's a takeaway like next door to the airport, and on arrival they will literally go get it. They'll ferry it through security to you. You give them some money and a tip and stuff, and literally we're like, on the turnaround you're having gyros. So
that's
just saying,
awesome.
It's if I could do that in flight sim, I would.
Uber Eats, DoorDash, Y'all heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Those Traffic Podcast, Uber Eats, all of them. Yep, there you go.
But yeah, so going back to the GSX integration, so we have the GSX app itself, which you can just use the same kind of a method you would in like the in-sim panel, basically. But we also have it integrated with our briefing app as well. So when you're briefing, and the way our workflow works, when I get to work, like I said, we brief the flight and we decide on a fuel figure. Like that is kind of like the last thing we do before we head to the aircraft. We agree on a fuel figure, we press order. That then tells the dispatcher, it tells the load control, it tells anyone who needs to know how much fuel we need, how much fuel we want. And the idea of efbX's briefing app is you basically do that and we do the rest, and it handles GSX, it handles the boarding and loading, and it just happens in the background, which allows you then to jump in the aircraft, do your flow in the same time that passengers are getting on board, the fuel is all happening, so you don't have to break your workflow because you need to deal with GSX. It just does it for you. And that to me, it saves so much like faffing around. Basically, it just allows me to get on with programming the McDo, thinking about the departure, okay, what's the stop altitude and who am I going to contact and what's the taxi routing going to look like, which is exactly the same as how it works in real life. We spend the time while the passengers are getting on board and the fuel's coming on board. We spend time setting up the aircraft and then briefing what we're going to do, and that's what I'm trying to get to basically become people's workflow. Absolutely. But I'm hoping it'll happen.
Oh no, I mean, it looks like you're well on your way. Because I know myself, Charlie, Mike, we actually had the opportunity to. You were actually going to eat because you had a hard time trying to. So you were going to eat. I think we met you for like a couple of seconds. She was like, you're like, I'm so sorry, I got to go eat.
I gotta go eat before I pass out right
exactly.
here on the floor. Go eat.
There was one point when one of the streamers came over and was like, hey, can you just do me a demo? And I was like, not right now. I'm so sorry. I was like, I think I might pass out. So give me like 10 minutes and then I will. but please just give me 10 minutes. It was so full on Expo.
No. Shout out to the gentleman who helped us out. He gave us a really amazing demo. But I felt, for me, it really, because I first heard of you during when Phoenix first dropped their A320, and We fired it up and looked at the CFP. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this. Like,
It was
where did
nice.
this come from? Yeah, it was game changing.
Because it was 100%.
and that's, I remember when it came out, and I remember just kind of like it wasn't because I was trying to like make waves in the community either. It was literally, I was like, all I want to do is make something that reflects what we have at work, and also is just kind of user friendly. Quite often developers have made EFBs that, whilst they have loads of information on there and loads of technical stuff, I never look at it. And half the time, even as a real pilot, I look at some of these numbers they pump out on the performance calculator, and I go, I have no idea what that means, because it's not relevant to me as a pilot, right? As an engineer, maybe, like an engineer might look at it and go, oh yeah, the differential of pressure on top of the wing is this, I don't know, but like it doesn't matter to me as a pilot. All
0.98 millibars.
All I really care about is like, will my aircraft take off on this runway? And the answer is yes. Great. What speed do I need to rotate at? Stuff like that. So that's why we kind of like decided to go down the kind of user-friendly route. And I think what is quite nice is the fact that a lot of other developers, I think, have taken that ethos as well. Like when they've looked at kind of, it feels like the Phoenix EFB has inspired some other ones as well, which is like that gives me a lot of pride really in my work, because when you're inspiring other people to do that, like, I mean, hey, maybe they had the idea themselves, I don't know, but when they're when you can see similarities, or like an idea that, so for example, drawing on the charts. That was something that had never been done until we did it with Phoenix. And now I see it pretty much everywhere. And that, to see that happening in a lot of other EFBs and a lot of other applications, that's pretty cool. That's really nice to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just to grab Ralph's question here. Shout out to Ralph. How about VATSIM integration? Can the efbX be used to quickly tune ATC frequencies similar to fly-by-wire tablet?
It can, yeah. It's got a link up to vPilot. It not only does that, but it also relays messages to you. So like if you are away from your computer and maybe you've like popped to the kitchen and you've taken your phone with you, if you get a DM, not a DM, what they call like a private message, say contact me, you'll get your phone will do the beep beep beep. And you'll be like, oh no, I've got to get back to my computer because someone's trying to contact me. We also have VATSIM replay as well, which is where if you miss your call, you can press play and it'll play back the last transmission that was transmitted. So, and you can do that on your phone too. So like, again, you don't have to, or your phone or your iPad. So it doesn't have to be on your screen either. It can literally be in front of you. And just having kind of, it's those user-friendly things that I know for me when I'm simming, I miss calls all the time. So I was like, how can I make something that allows me to basically stop missing calls? And so I was like, well, hold on, if I and actually that was born out of the normalizer, because it uses similar technology to the normalizer. So a lot of development's a lot about like kind of doing some work and then going, oh, actually, that would work in here and stuff like that. So for example, with normalizer, the plan is to have that as part of the efbX too. So if you want to run your audio through there and stuff, you can, and stuff like that. It's kind of it's so VATSIM integration, yes, with lots of bells and whistles.
Holy smokes. Yeah, finding those, I think that's what's awesome with the direction you're going, in my opinion. Being sensitive to the needs and looking at it from a simmer's perspective. Being software development in the healthcare industry, we get that a lot. A lot of times things are developed from the perspective of the developer. And that's when you get software that's like complete trash. It's like, oh my gosh, the UI is terrible. Like, who did this front end? And it's not until, you bring in, RNs, bring in, providers and get their feedback. And, you take that feedback and design the front end. But it's as if, you've eliminated all that, from the aviation perspective, right? That was my first impression, when I saw the Flight Sim Expo, was how clean it looked. I was like, man, it looks
yes, it
really
is clean.
Yeah.
I
And
think one thing I love in particular is like the screenshots app. I don't know if you got a chance to see the screenshots app at all.
no, did we catch it, Charlie?
I don't remember seeing that.
So that there's some stuff that probably you wouldn't have seen at Expo, purely because of the fact that like time was so tight. Like honestly, one of the hardest things I found was like sharing the efbX in enough detail with somebody without kind of basically spending 2 hours with somebody and boring them. Because I spend hours going through this. There are so many features, but like for example, if I just show you this is on my phone, but this is our screenshots app.
Wow.
And what you can do, you can that button there. Oops, sorry. That button there literally takes a screenshot. So if I was in the sim, do I have the sim up right now? I may do. Hold on. Let's see.
Sure.
I do. Sure. So I'm currently sat on the runway. And if I just literally just press that button there, you'll see. Did you see that?
Oh, wow.
Yes, the panel.
And then you can do filters, you can do like cropping, get ready for Instagram and stuff. But the point is literally like we just took a screenshot from my phone because I've got the sim up right there. So
wow.
It's kind of hard to give you a demo, but if I just delete it, 1 sec, I'll try one more time. There we go. So I just deleted that. And then I'm going to try and press the button and it'll appear. There we go. Just like that.
That's crazy.
Holy crap. Oh my gosh.
So
Man,
it's
wow.
But I think that's the point, and that's the kind of connectivity that we're trying to go for here. Is like, and that is obviously such a minor thing, but it's like I know the simmers love taking screenshots. They love to be able to like manipulate them with various different softwares and filters and things like that, and then posting them on socials. And so I was like, well, of course I would do that, And but then to be able to take it remotely means that like you don't have to press print screen and then go to some other application. Like it's on your phone already, so you could be flying along and you could literally manipulate it on your phone there, and then you could send it. Do you know what I mean? So
wow. No, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, that makes total sense. All I can say, Charlie, Mike, our little chat group is about to be inundated with screenshots. You guys don't know how difficult it is to like print screen, and then the little cursor doesn't always grab it. So you're like, crap, and you're like cursing trying to get that perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's essentially inspired by like your camera app
that
you have on your phone. Because I was like, initially when I was like making the FB, I was like, oh, well, hold on a second. Like I could, how am I going to do a camera app? And I was like, hold on, screenshots, of course. So then I was like, basically, I'm just going to make an app that looks like your camera roll, but it's just screenshots instead.
For sure.
That's cool.
For sure. Question from Dougal McTavish. What protocol is used to communicate between devices?
So it's all going over your local network. So it's all on HTTP. So it's literally, it creates a local web server on your host computer, and then just pushes all of the information out over that network. So hence you can run it off of your local devices. So the benefit of running a local web server is it means that it can interact with your sim and can also interact with other devices on your network. So it means that you don't have if we ran it online, for example, like if we were efbX.io or if we were like account.efbX.io, then that wouldn't be able to read into your sim because of security reasons. Obviously, you couldn't have a website looking into your application.
For sure.
But because you have efbX running on your local computer, that allows you to then connect into your sim, but also then we also have our own online API, so it can speak to that too. So there is some stuff online, there's some stuff on your computer, but it kind of bridges that gap. But yeah, it's simply speaking, it's a web server that runs on your computer, but it's a bit, well, for thousands of lines of code suggests it's probably a bit more complicated than that, but
for sure.
Well, absolutely. Just the backside of that. I mean, there's a lot going on in the background.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's actually a really good question. Oh, another good question here from Practically Geek, man. Shout out to you guys, man. Love the interaction in the chat. Appreciate it.
Yeah, keep it up.
What is the quality of the screenshot? Like as far as some resolution?
Yeah, same as sim resolution. It just it literally takes a screen grab of your sim and then puts it in a folder. So yeah, it's there's no loss. Well, not that I've noticed. I'm sure someone will come along and say, "Oh, there's it's lost somewhere." I don't know. But like,
no worries.
To my eye, I've not been able to notice any loss. Like I said, I'm sure a tester may be able to tell me, or actually someone with a better eye than me might be able to tell me, and hey, we'll look at it. But at the moment, to my eye, it looks pretty solid. So.
No worries. Another good question from Ralph. Is there a social network on the efbX? Can we add, view, chat with our friends?
Yeah. At the minute, just in the stage of development we are, that doesn't exist, but it is very much, there is an aspiration for that to happen, because I think it is important. I think people love sharing screenshots, people love tracking each other's flights, and actually, in fact, I was doing a flight with a tester yesterday, and we literally were we were just testing some stuff in the tracking app, and he just goes, it's the only downside to this, I can't stalk you. And and I was like, no, you will be able to, don't worry.
No worries. So yeah. Cool. Okay, yeah. Charlie. So I'm not the only one. So you're not the only one who stalks me. Okay. Yeah.
I'll take a picture. I'll take a picture of like Johnny flying and send him a meme. It's like, I see.
Well,
you.
it's also when someone's been like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not available to like hang out with you, and then you see them on like Volanta, and you're like, excuse me. You told me you weren't free.
Exactly.
Yeah, happens. We call it low key flying. So like, we're busy, and we'll.
Why are you doing like a 12-hour flight?
Yeah.
Or when we're supposed to be at work, Charlie, but we're not, because we're totally shooting that approach into JFK.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, all good points. That was actually kind of lead into a question I had, as far as I know right now you guys are like elbows deep into development, but if there was some things you wanted to share with the audience in terms of maybe a future roadmap down the road, like what you guys are kind of bouncing around with, or anything like that.
Yeah, I think in terms of like roadmap and stuff, obviously we're planning for release in Q4, so that's kind of the biggest milestone for us at the moment we're working towards. Sure. The one thing that's kind of worth noting is like when it does come out, I know every single time I show someone or someone gets their hands on it, they are filled with ideas. I've got, we could do this, and hey, that is amazing, and I love the excitement. The App Store itself will be obviously a finite set of apps when we launch, because people just haven't had a chance to develop stuff. Very similar to like when a new sim comes out, there's no aircraft and stuff. So whilst we do have apps ourselves, the idea is it will grow. And so I think like if from a roadmap perspective, I can definitely tell you it will grow. What it will grow into will very much depend on developer buy-in and community buy-in as well. So like the more people that use it, the more leverage we'll have with other developers and with people who want to make things for the App Store. So it kind of, that's probably the politician's answer for like what the roadmap looks like, but it's only because only because kind of it entirely depends on buy-in from both the community and the development community.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, that makes total sense.
The green shoots are there certainly because there are developers and people in the community that, I mean, I won't divulge how many people we have now on our early access list, but there's quite a few, and I'm genuinely like so overwhelmed and so humbled by how many people are backing the project. So I would say the future's bright, certainly, for how this will go in the future.
Oh, too cool. Ralph with a comment. That one friend in the long haul group flight that fell asleep at top of descent, been doing holding patterns. Oh yeah, our car's like permanently stuck in that procedure turn and that hold.
Well, that's actually I tell you what, we'll tie that in with the roadmap. There is a feature which is coming, which is, and again, all of these are like toggleable, so it's not like you don't have to have it.
Sure.
But alert at top of descent will be a thing. So like if you're coming up towards your top of descent and you want to be told about it, we'll basically have an alarm to be like, hey, be aware.
Did you forget me?
Don't forget me.
Guilty.
Yeah. So that doesn't exist at the moment, but that's certainly on our list of things to do.
Too cool.
Awesome.
Another question I have for you. I'm sorry just to kind of inundate you with questions. Like as we're talking, it's kind of popped in my mind there.
I love it.
Let's say, for example, me and Charlie have a virtual airline, and we come to you and want to do like a virtual Southwest skin or something like that for the EFB. And again, that may be down the road type of thing, or what have you. Is that something that's kind of been on your guys' radar as of yet, or
Do you mean
is
like
a situation
as in backgrounds and stuff, or
exactly customizations, things of that nature?
Like a Southwest background.
Got him.
Got him.
Yeah, so we have custom backgrounds. That's all in there. We have like some stock ones. We can have it tied to your sim brief as well if you want it to be. So like if you're flying Southwest or you're flying Delta or whoever, you can have it tied to your sim brief. So when you load up, your background will change depending on who you're flying for. And also we have custom ones as well. So you can just upload, like if you want a picture of your family or a cat or your dog or whatever, you can just do that as well.
Oh, too cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So kind of things like quality of life stuff. I think the one thing I've tried to not forget about while we've been developing this is kind of the nice to have things that just people, it's a little like, to be able to change your background is a little thing, but I think people do appreciate it and do like it. So
absolutely. No, and I'm guilty of it as well, because I've always been kind of like, yeah, whatever. But Mike does keep me honest. It's like, little small quality of life things. And, once you try it out and it's like, okay, it's pretty nice. Then you get used to it. And then you're like wondering, what the heck you do without it. I mean, that's, I'm totally guilty of it.
And it's little things as well. So like, again, I kind of show you, but
absolutely.
So we have this thing where literally if you want a scratch pad, like an immediate scratch pad, you just swipe across from the left and you have your scratch pad. And it's things like that, just to have that kind of like really kind of easy, accessible, kind of way of working. And that's just because I know when I'm flying along and I'm simming, I'm always needing to jot things down. And so to be able to have just a scratch pad that's just there is super helpful. And so it's that, that's something that, hey, we don't have to do, but actually it's such a quality of life thing that I think people appreciate.
For sure.
Yeah, good place to write down that Uber Eats order, Johnny.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
Well,
I'm telling you.
My Uber Eats order.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that was,
hilarious.
and it's funny, we joke about that, but man, that's so real. Oh my gosh, man. How many times like I just don't want to leave the sound, and wife's like, what are we gonna eat? It's like, hold on,
Oh yeah. Or do like mine, and then every time you're at top of drop, dinner's ready. Every time. Or breakfast, whatever it might be.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's I think in terms of where we have come from thus far, these past several years have just been insane in terms of the movement in the industry. I guess a question I want to ask you as well, Charlie. Where do you guys see the with all these different applications and Katie's platform that she's working on, do you guys see at some point eventually looking at like a unified platform to where, you know, it's just like a one-stop shop for everything. Because and again, you know, I find myself, you know, there's all these nice to have applications, right? And you know, at some point, you know, where does it stop? Because it's hard to choose between, you know, it's like, man, I want this, you know, I want GSX, I got to have vPilot, I got to have this and that and the other. I just, you know, I know, just to kind of get my little personal opinion out of the way, I really think Katie's endeavor is definitely going to be a huge benefit to the community. You know, I know it's going to be a day one pickup for me. What about you, Charlie?
Oh, 100%. And just what I think she's building with this program, that collaboration aspect between developers is key to me. Because, you know, that's just going to make each one of them kind of push each other a little bit harder and just make the overall community kind of join, where it's like, oh, well, we're over here and we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Make it more of a joint community effort.
For sure.
The one thing is, just to kind of add in there with like developers working together, I don't know if like you noticed or have noticed the last few expos where developers are like, oh, I think it was like at FS Weekend, for example, PMDG had a wind control force feedback yoke on their stand, and then like, you know, there's various different developers, they're like supporting each other, and when people do that, amazing things happen. And I think that's very much again the mindset of just kind of like trying to bring people together, and as much as it's great that everyone's in their own corner doing their own thing, actually when people work together, like we make amazing stuff. And also what will happen if people work together, there'll be less like conflicting software. Like the amount how many times you install something and then it's like, oh, you that doesn't work if you've got that installed, so therefore you need to like uninstall. And again, it's kind of that the whole philosophy of just how about we just have one platform that allows people to like work together. So yeah, it's very much, like I said, it's very much an ecosystem and a like an operating system, as opposed to just another EFB to like add to your collection of add-ons, basically.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Or like that 19th iteration of like the same scenery. I'm not going to say no names, Charlie. You know,
man,
it's like, oh my gosh.
There.
Yeah, I'm
going
but the
there. Piggyback off of that, man, I remember in Houston seeing PMDG and Navigraph having them conversations, you know, so like that's a big deal, man. Keeping everybody kind of joint efforts, I think.
Yep. It's
only benefits us as the consumer in the long run.
Yeah, and I think if you ask any developer, like, what is your main goal, and it is to benefit the consumer. So therefore, why don't we work more together? And I think that's, you know, it's very much about pulling people together as it is actually creating an EFB. So
yeah, absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, it don't make no money if nobody's buying it. So
well, exactly.
Just call it for what it is.
But speaking of money and the ends there, Charlie, you brought up a good point. So
I get my bonus finally.
No, well, the check's in the mail, but you should have cashed it like 2 weeks ago.
Waiting
so
on probably ADP. I got it.
Yeah. You're waiting for an ADP login. But just to make sure I did a little research. So the base tier, if I'm understanding correctly, Katie, it's going to be free, and then of course you can transition into a higher paid tier.
Yeah, exactly. So there's, you know, and that will always be the case as well. I think it's really important that regardless of your financial background, you can use this. And I think it's really important for the success of this project that we have a user base. And I think if you put everything behind a paywall, like from day one, everyone's just gonna be like, no, thank you. Like it's very much kind of, just, you know, and this, I mean, hey, if I start charging people to read the news, like I think we've got a problem. You know, like I said, or if they're like using like GSX and they're having to pay to use it remotely, like that's essentially me profiteering off of like someone else's creativity, because that is actually Umberto's software, not mine. So there's so yes, the base tier will be free. We haven't detailed out exactly what that looks like, but essentially the base tier is free, and then you can bring it up to premium, which will give you basically a better user experience. And again, we'll kind of detail that out in more detail. And then the only other
Sure.
thing is the fact that some apps may be paid for. So, for example, if there's an app that requires, I don't know, if there's an app that requires a subscription to the actual underlying like assets, for example, like if it's a mapping thing or whatever, then maybe that one will have to have some sort of charge, because obviously we can't just absorb the price of everybody
Exactly.
accessing, so it's kind of like it's only going to be charged, like certain apps will only be charged if they have to be. It's not just going to be, we think we're going to charge this because we want to. It's very much going to be kind of minimal pricing, basically. Like this is something I've just wanted to do because it's good fun to make. Like I'm not, as an airline pilot, like it's probably no secret, like we earn good money, so I'm not here trying to make a living, which is actually really freeing for me as a developer, because it means that I don't need to go, I need to make this profitable. Actually, I just want to make something cool. Like that's what I enjoy. Do you know what I mean? And that's all I've kind of wanted to do with this whole thing. So
Absolutely. All good points. Question from Any Which Way But There. Man, I love that name. Oh my gosh, I love that name. Would a VA integration be possible like they do for VAMS and
VAMS?
Is that what it is? Okay, I totally butchered that. From Flight Mods UK.
Yeah, so any developer can make an app. So if there's a virtual airline out there that wants to have their own VA's app in the App Store, then they can absolutely do that. So it would just depend on the VA making the app, really. So so with the App Store, it will essentially work where developers can make an app. They submit it to us. We'll just review the code and make sure there's nothing nefarious on there or anything. It's of good quality, obviously. And then it'll go into our App Store, provided passes our checks and stuff. And one of the checks is going to be like vibe coding and stuff, because whilst we don't mind AI being used to help development, we're quite against kind of just sheer vibe coded applications. Purely from a security standpoint, really. Rarely are vibe coded applications made with security in mind, and I think that's also really important to us. We're exposing things over your local network and things like that, and so it's very important that we make sure that everybody is the application is safe, basically.
Absolutely. So just my understanding as far as the app ecosystem, so it's more kind of like a modular ecosystem to where it kind of has its own little app store.
Yeah,
if I'm understanding that correctly. Okay.
Yeah, correct. So the App Store, think of it like, do you guys have an Apple iPhone or Android or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah, very much the same as like the Apple App Store, where you can install the apps, you can delete the ones you don't need. So when you saw the EFB, or you've seen screenshots. In fact, every screenshot you've probably seen the apps like in a different order. They're all over the place and stuff. And that's just because you can just move them around, or you add them, delete them. It's entirely up to you. So very much like it's yours. It's not. I'm not giving you the EFB. In fact, the first time you download it, you're going to have 2 apps on there, and people will log in and go, "What on earth is this?" Because you just have the App Store and you have your settings app, and that's it. Because then it's for you to go into the App Store and start downloading your apps and the ones that you want.
Oh, too cool. So you can kind of build it, make it your own, to your point from earlier. Oh, awesome.
And the other thing as well with like, we want this to be as simple as possible for you as well. So like when you load up efbX, it like automatically updates itself. It automatically updates any apps that you've installed and stuff. So you don't need to be like, oh, is that up to date and stuff like that. It just does it for you. So.
Oh, too cool. Question from Dougal McTavish. Does the scratchpad data get saved?
Only if you want to. So again, it's very much very much your choice, basically. So
too cool. Awesome. Let's see, another question. Awesome. Love the questions, guys. There we go, my mouse wasn't mousing. Is Katie going to be present at the FSIM UK event in Bristol?
Absolutely. It's for me, it's not too far away. It's a couple hours drive, so awesome. Definitely be there. really excited for that event. I think it's one of those ones where when I first saw it, I was like, oh, is anyone going to get behind this? But it seems like everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. Any excuse to get together with the community. So yes, but it's long overdue that we haven't had a flight sim event in the UK for many years. In fact, before COVID, I think the last one was. So it's been nice to have something a bit close to home. Obviously, we have FS weekend.
Yep.
So but that's obviously in the Netherlands, which I went to in March, and that was an 8-hour drive. So it's going to be nice to just have a couple of hours drive and just like
absolutely
and get there. So yeah,
no jet lag there.
Nope.
No jet lag. Well, depends how long you spend in the bar, really, doesn't it?
Well, that's true.
That too.
Flamingos, or wasn't flamingos? What was the name of that place up there?
Oh, Zamboni.
Zambonis.
Oh my
flamingos.
Oh my gosh. Where'd you get from? You're thinking of Vegas, Charlie. You're in Vegas already.
I spent far too much time in Zambonis.
Yeah, we didn't find out until later. Like, hey,
that's like the last night.
Yeah, I was like, hey guys, where were y'all?
I mean, I was there on the Thursday, and I messaged Moose, and I said, I'm hearing stories that there's somewhere that's got karaoke, and he was like, I've not heard about this, but I'll keep my ear to the ground. I was like, okay, I will too. And then literally we found out where it was. It was in Zamboni's. And but I was like, I'm not going to do any karaoke. I'm not going to do it. By the end of the night, you couldn't get me down. I was like singing all the songs. Like we did like a 3 of us got up and did like I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. Like it was,
oh gosh, that's hilarious.
But no, it was a lot of fun.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? It kind of worked out, Charlie, because man, it brought some Backstreet Boys. Man, I've been your background singer, yeah. But no, too cool. Question from Carl Anthony. When on the I'm assuming it's but when on the map overview, what's the refresh rate compared to Volanta? I'm sure I butchered that.
Yeah, no, I think he means that in terms of the like the tracking, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I've not to be honest checked the refresh rate of between Volanta and the efbX. All I do know is like ours is extremely responsive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I probably bring it up. Maybe again is in fact I'm just gonna go back to one that I did, not Geneva. Let's do Marseille because it's pretty. So I did this as a stream I did 2 days ago or so. But like this is our track. And
wow.
As you like it's
3D.
It's pretty, yeah, it's pretty
pretty snappy,
like
yeah,
and stuff, yeah. So like I said, it's not, I don't know what it is like versus anything, but all I know is it's nice and responsive, and it seems to work. So it's all I know as well is it's very satisfying to go and do a flight and then look back at it. So
your track.
Well, like I said, we're not here to compete with the likes of Volanta. We're actually here to like, again, if Volanta wanted to integrate with the efbX and have a Volanta app, then I would be absolutely like all over it. I spoke to the Elevatex guys at Expo, and I'm like, guys, like, let's have an Elevatex app in there too. Like, I'm not saying you don't need to, you don't need to only only use our tracking app. If you want to use that like Elevatex or Volanta, then go ahead. But we'd love to have an app so you don't have to have
one or the other, yeah. Or
totally. So
yeah,
it's very much like that kind of philosophy. So yeah, it's like I said, it's about bringing developers together rather than trying to make a competing product.
Absolutely. Another comment from me. I got man, Zamboni's
we know,
yeah.
Bro. We were there.
I was working every day, obviously, wasn't I? I had to be there for like doors open. And actually, if anyone did get to Expo like at doors open on like the Saturday or Sunday, they would have seen me at like 8:58, like rocking up, like with the coffee in hand, like blasting past the queue to get through security, and then downstairs, and then.
That was kind of like Sunday. You were on a mission to get to the expo hall.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm telling you. But next year I'm coming with a plan. And I think shout out to a good friend of ours. I'm gonna put him on the spot. XP72. He was like, yeah, I just I get like a list and a punch list and to be able to hit all my spots or whatnot. And I'm like, Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of, why didn't we think of that? Because if you guys have not gone to FS Expo, next year, of course, will be in Vegas. Definitely make plans. Do not miss it. It's so many memories. Like I'm still, yeah.
I'm kind of thinking with that, because with Vegas, I'm probably going to make more than just the weekend of it, because I know that if I'm at the show like over the weekend, I'm basically going to leave. Like, I mean, when I left St. Paul, I was like, I haven't seen much of this city. I've seen the walk between the Intercontinental and the Expo Hall. I've seen Zambonis. And that's probably about it. I just didn't have time. I was so busy doing other stuff. So I think making more of a week of it will probably might be my plan like this coming year.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. And I know Mike's like super close there. He's in California, so yeah, it's definitely going to be worth making the trip over. We'll pull old Charlie out of Georgia and get him over.
Go ahead and have a lawyer on a retainer, bro.
Oh my goodness, man!
Especially Ralph shows up. We're gonna be in a bind.
All good shenanigans. All good shenanigans for sure. As far as any closing thoughts for the audience, Katie, is there anything you want you like for the audience to know?
I think the key thing is, I think most people are like, well, how do I get it? That was always the closing question when we were at Expo. Like they're like, okay, well, that's great. How do I get it? And the answer to that is so it's releasing in Q4. Obviously, that is a 3-month window. So at some point in Q4, it'll come, and there we go. So the best thing to do is go to our website, and you can put your email address in, and then gets you on the mailing list, and that gets you on the early access list. And that's not just early access for release. That's like early access for any other like updates that we do in the future. Like, you will be the first to know. And like, essentially, it's like a little thank you for backing the project from the start, because I think like as it grows, it would never have happened if it wasn't for the early adopters. So yeah, that's very much like what I would like to say is go to the website, put your email address in, and also follow along on our Instagram, because that is also where we post things. And I'm quite bad for like posting cool features on Instagram, because I'm getting excited, and then I go, oh, that's cool, people might like that, and then I post it on my story, and then I get told off by our marketing guy being like, stop posting stuff that's that's commercially sensitive. And so I'm like, I got excited, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. Again, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. One thing is, I'm just admire your dedication to your craft and to the industry. On
top of your real job.
Exactly. On top of your real job.
I forgot about that. I definitely have to fly planes later this week.
Exactly. And I mean, I think, with the community having, if we can just have more developers like you, I can see the industry in a good place for sure.
I hope it inspires. I hope it does inspire other developers, and also people who aren't developers too. Like I am self-taught. I never went to like school about it. I did maths and stuff at school. So like, if you're interested in stuff, just give it a go. Like, you'll make mistakes. I mean, I look back at some of the earliest stuff I did. In fact, I'm not embarrassed by the Phoenix at all. Like, I'm still really proud of it. But I would have done it very differently now, knowing what I now know. And so like it's kind of like, it's the same. I'm sure like if you do something else in a hobby that you have, like you look back on something you did a few years ago and go, oh, I wouldn't have done it that way now. But that's I would say that anyone who is a aspiring developer, just give it a go and see what happens, and you never know, it might be something you're naturally talented at.
Absolutely, for sure. Great thoughts, Katie. What about you, Charlie? Any spayed new to your animals? Any closing thoughts for the audience?
Man, that's about it. It's hard to follow up Miss Katie down there. I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet.
For sure. Awesome, guys. Well, again, to you guys out there in the audience, thank you for hanging out with us. Definitely be sure to follow Katie and on all of her socials we have listed in the description below. Definitely check out her website as well. Get on that mailing list. I've done the same. And be sure to like and subscribe and all the things that I guess we're supposed to say for the algorithm so it can algorithm.
Sure.
Turn your alerts on and stuff. That's what they do, right? Is that
There you go.
Yeah, hit the
you
bell
know?
or something.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
I
Ding
can do
dong
this speaking
below.
thing. Yeah, that's it. Turn it on.
Turn all of that
By
on.
the way, one thing I would say, can I just add, if anyone is here just because I posted out and you don't subscribe this channel, like please do subscribe this channel. Don't like kind of come to this stream and only watch because I'm here. Like please just subscribe because these guys do amazing podcasts. And I was catching up on your FSXO wash up and that was like fantastic. So yeah, guys, make sure you do. And I we're kind of making a joke about it, but do press the button. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, we are extremely humbled and graced by your presence. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all for us this evening. We'll also post this on in podcast format as well to all of your various podcast outlets for that morning commute or to and from work. And yeah, so if you guys have any comments, make sure you guys leave in below and all that fun stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, keep the blue side up and we'll see it.